Coming up on Takedown with Chris Hansen, a bad moon rising for one man in Polk County, Florida.
He did not look freaked out when they took him down.
And there will be no aloha from me.
Kind of a rough night for you, huh?
Who are you?
I'm Chris Hansen.
I hope you're enjoying this full free episode of Takedown, but there's something else you need to know. Only a small portion of our episodes are on YouTube. There are more than 100 episodes on our streaming service, ad-free and uncensored at watchtrueblu.com. Use the code YouTube24 to watch them all for $2.50 or YouTube Year for $20 off an annual subscription. Also, and this is important, hit the subscribe button below, and we'll see you soon on TruBlu. Operation Cyber Guardian 4 is in full swing in Polk County, Florida. It's the latest multi-agency task force assembled by Sheriff Grady Judd to identify and capture potential child predators.
Thank you, everybody, for letting us collaborate again with you on this great op. We appreciate it. It's great to be in Polk County.
Tonight's scenario, a foster father is offering sex with his 15-year-old stepdaughter in exchange for money. But behind this twisted transaction are two Polk County Sheriff's Office detectives and me. I get the full details from the undercover detective.
Give me a sense of the scenario here. What do we have? We've got a guy coming who's communicated with who he thinks is the dad.
Correct.
You.
Yes.
Who wants to sell this man his teenage daughter.
Yeah, my 15-year-old foster child. And he wants to have sex with her. And specifically some very gross stuff that he wants to do to her.
And he has detailed this in the conversation you've had with him on the social media platform.
Yes, sir. He has.
How long has this chat been going on at this point?
Since yesterday, so about 2 days now.
2 days now?
Yes, sir.
And is there any doubt in your mind what his intentions are?
There is no doubt in my mind what he wants to do.
He knows the girl is underage.
Absolutely.
He's going to pay money.
Absolutely.
$250?
Cash.
Cash money.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about it?
Nervous.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's our job. We got to do it. Protect these kids.
He's a bad guy.
Yes, sir.
What's it like for you to have to take on this role?
It's very hard for me since I've got 3 kids at the house, but it's also rewarding to get these guys off the streets.
And if you guys don't do it?
And if we don't do it, then these poor kids are going to be abused.
We think he's, what, 30 minutes out?
Yes, sir. That's what he just communicated to us, that he was about 30 minutes out. He had to make a stop first, and then he was going to be on his way.
And is he bringing anything that we're aware of besides the money?
No, I didn't request anything other than the $250 cash this time.
All right, so he's on his way?
Yes, sir.
All right. We shall see.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I review the text messages between the man going by the name of Funguy07002 and the detective posing as the dad. The detective starts off by saying his daughter is 15, almost 16. He asks if the dad has a place for this to happen, that it would need to be the next day. There's talk of money. The detective asks what he's looking for, and the man lays it out there. The undercover reiterates her age, and the man says he's good with it. That man is 41-year-old Larry from Plant City, Florida, and the deal is about to go down in a local hotel. The sheriff's office, my crew, and I are staged inside a room awaiting his arrival.
She's gonna pop out to see him.
Got it.
She's gonna bypass this door and go to the bathroom where we're gonna have a couple of detectives standing by with her to serve as a barrier.
Right.
As soon as he pops this door, we're gonna let him step in. We'll be staged in the bathroom.
Got it.
We're gonna bring him.
Boom. So you want us all behind the wall here?
Yes.
Hidden cameras have been placed in the hotel lobby to capture all the action.
So the suspect should walk right in the front of the hotel, see the detective posing as the foster father, come in, get a look at the young deputy posing as the girl. They'll negotiate a little bit, and then we'll see them walk into the room where the arrest should take place if everything goes to plan, and we'll be there for the arrest. And then after that, they'll be taking the suspect away to a mobile processing center, and that's where we'll get a chance of talking.
Watch as Larry, wearing the Hawaiian shirt, puts the money on the table, and then the detective slips him the room key. As he makes his way over, we're poised and ready. But rather than a real 15-year-old girl in the room, Larry is met with the Polk County Sheriff's Office. They take him down.
Keep your hand, Marcus. Yep. Put your hand back. Mind back, do it now.
Right away, Larry knows he's in trouble. They quickly get him secured, search him for weapons, and prep him for transport. I wanted to get a sense of what it was like for the detective posing as the stepdad to be sitting across from a man who wanted to have sex with an underage girl.
How did he seem when you came face to face with him?
Very nervous, and I, told him that I just really didn't want him to hurt my daughter. Please don't hurt my daughter.
Please don't hurt my daughter.
He said, "I'll take care of her," was his quote.
He said, "I will take care of her."
I will take care of her.
Did he show any emotion, any feeling whatsoever?
No, just cold.
And he gave you the money?
Gave me the money.
$250.
$260.
$260. Yeah.
$260. All 20s.
So he didn't have change?
Nope.
And what was the last thing he said to you before he
I
left?
just handed him the
room key?
I handed him the room key. He laid the cash on the table, and I took the cash and walked out the back.
Deputies search Larry's vehicle, and I take a look for myself.
This is the car he's arrived in at the hotel. When you look inside into the passenger portion of the vehicle, it's literally filled up to the seat with energy drinks, sandwich bags, pizza boxes. It's almost as if he was living in this car. And if you go around to the back, you can see that he was actually in the military, disabled veteran. It's sad when a military guy shows up in one of these stings, but it never surprises me. Nothing ever does in these stings.
We then head over to a mobile interrogation vehicle where I get my chance to talk to Larry.
He did not look freaked out when they took him down.
He looked like he'd done it before.
That was my opinion. Sure seemed that way to me.
But before I do, Larry wanted to make this one phone call to his wife. Once he finishes that, he's not going to like what happens next. There's not going to be an aloha for Larry.
Hey, Larry. How you doing?
Good.
It's kind of a rough night for you, huh?
A little bit.
Where are you from?
Who are you?
I'll get to that in a minute.
I would like to know who you are first.
Okay. Well, I'm Chris Hansen. And we do stories on men who get caught in situations like this. And I'd just like to know your side of what happened tonight. And I think it's important to understand how this all went down and why. And, you've got a story to tell here, and I don't know it. So if you could just give me a quick version of it, then I can get out of your hair.
Quick version, I was talking to someone online who they initially said they were 18.
Yeah.
Then it turned into a potential child that was being prostituted by a foster father. My initial intent was to help somebody out of a bad situation if I could, if I had enough information to talk to law enforcement. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough information until everything happened.
Okay. Did you ever think about calling law enforcement and telling them that this girl might be?
I did, but I didn't have a location or anything until the last minute, so it wasn't.
Now, in the chat, there's a lot of talk about sex, oral sex, intercourse. You wanting to have sex with her unprotected, things like that.
That at that time, that was to keep the conversation going, to try to find a location to help somebody.
Got it. And so, when you got here, did you think about calling 911 or alerting the authorities, or?
At that point, once I had the actual location checked down, it was the person that I thought needed help was right there. I thought I could help at that point.
And what went through your mind when you saw that girl?
That she possibly needed help. And somebody that was possibly doing stuff against her will, didn't understand what she was really doing.
And you talked to the fellow who you thought was the stepdad or the foster dad, and you gave him some money. Why did you go ahead and do that?
At that point, I still didn't know where they were at in the hotel.
Right.
I knew kind of where they were at the hotel, or so I thought. But
Right.
I didn't have enough information to, tell somebody, hey, their person is right there that may need help. There's a minor in danger right there.
And do you have a background in law enforcement?
Military, not law enforcement.
Were you in law enforcement in the military?
No.
How long were you in the military?
20 years.
20 years. Army?
Correct.
And where were you stationed?
A couple different places. I was in Japan, Tennessee, North Carolina.
North Carolina. And how long have you been out?
About a year.
About a year. And what do you do now?
IT work.
IT work for
Government contract.
government contract. Are you from this area?
No, I've had family in the area, but the intent was to work over in Tampa at the base.
And what were you doing in this area?
Well, I live over next city over, so that's what prompted the conversation, and then I came this way to
Got it.
hopefully help somebody. But
Yeah.
trying to do something good kind of went horribly wrong.
I understand. And do you live with your wife?
I do.
You do. And do you have kids?
I do.
How old are your kids?
I've got 3 total. 2 live with us. There's a 20-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 12-year-old.
12-year-old. So the 12-year-old is just 3 years younger than the girl ultimately was supposed to be tonight.
Correct. That's why I wanted to help. That's somebody close to my daughter's age that, and at least it seemed to be in danger, in a bad situation, that needed help.
And what about your internet history? Have you met other people online before for sex?
I have. All have been adults. I don't, children are not something like that. It's not something I do or enjoy. This started with someone who I thought was 18, and then it turned into somebody that was in danger that was 15 years old.
Still, though, this scenario was a foster dad selling his daughter.
Correct.
And even if she had been 18, which ultimately you were told she was 15, that's pretty creepy, Larry.
It is. And when that statement was made, that's what changed everything to try to do something for good. Initially, it was not what I thought I was getting involved in. I thought it was an 18-year-old female that was looking for sex. It evolved into, I'm her foster father, and she's 15, and he's prostituting her.
At that point, why don't you just call the authorities?
There was no location. That's like
But
saying,
you had the information from the platform upon which you were chatting, right?
there was that information, yes, but it didn't give a location. It just, they could have been anywhere, or it could have been some weird person that gets off on that type of conversation themselves, pretending to be somebody.
Did you tell your wife, holy hell, I think there's something bad going on here, I'm gonna go check it out?
I didn't.
You did. Why not?
I didn't want her to get involved if she didn't need to be.
She didn't need to know you might have sex with somebody tonight, huh?
At that point, once I knew the person's age, I didn't intend to have sex with anybody. I intended to help the person.
The reason I have a hard time believing that 100% is because I've had conversations like this before. And in many of the cases, Larry, the men will try to come up with a story, a protection story that, okay, if I get caught, I was just here to help the girl.
And I understand how.
Do you understand why I would be
outside.
skeptical of that?
I can fully understand that.
And why should I believe you as opposed to any of these other fellows who've lied to my face?
I help people when I can. I've served this country for 20 years, and this wasn't what I thought was going to happen tonight. What I thought was going to happen is hopefully I could help somebody, and if things went negatively, I could easily, you know, get a hold of the police or have somebody get a hold of the police to help out if I wasn't able to.
But it seems like if that was the truth, you would have pulled up, and once you got the address, you would have called the authorities, called 911 and say, I think that I have a live case of a girl being pimped out by her foster dad.
Didn't think I had enough information at that point, to be quite honest with you. To me, it wasn't enough to go off of, but I don't have a law enforcement background. I'm just assuming what information I think they need. They at least need a room number or something like that to find the person.
Did you send any pictures during your online conversation?
When I thought I was talking to an adult, yes.
You sent a penis picture?
I did.
Was that a picture of your penis?
It was.
Why did you think that was a good idea?
The person was on a site specifically looking for sex.
Right, but you later found out that she was 15.
I didn't know that when I sent those pictures.
But you continued this sexually charged conversation.
The intent at that point was to try to get enough information to help a person. I can't help somebody if I don't know where they're at.
Have you ever had sex with somebody who's underage who you met online or in any other circumstance?
No.
No.
No, not.
Nothing in your record?
Nope.
Now, you got kids of your own.
I do.
What if some fella was online talking to one of your kids in a sexually charged conversation and then traveled to try to have sex with one of your kids? How would you feel about that?
I'd be pretty upset about it.
So why shouldn't people be upset with you?
My intent was to help somebody once I realized the person's true age and something was not right with the situation.
You used an alias online. You said your name was Frank. Is that correct?
Correct. After I assessed and realized what the situation was, I did not want to use my real name in case I don't know who that person is until, until the night. I didn't use a real name because I didn't want them to know that.
How long did this conversation go on?
Approximately 24 hours, give or take.
24 hours. In any of that time, 24 hours, did you ever think to yourself, Larry, that this is a bad idea, I shouldn't show up? The information I have is that there's a foster father pimping out his 15-year-old child, and I've had this sexually charged conversation. Maybe I should not show up? Maybe I should call the authorities if, in fact, you were trying to be the good Samaritan, as you suggest?
I thought that numerous times, but I didn't know where the person was that needed help.
But you could have not come here. See, that's the problem, Larry, is because you showed up and walked in and laid down the $260. You added 10. I guess you didn't have change for the 20s you carried. And then you get a room card and follow this girl back to a hotel after talking about sex, oral sex. You wanted to ejaculate inside this girl. It's all in the transcripts.
That's the correct statement of what I said at the time. And that was to try to figure out where somebody was that needed help. That's the best I can tell you.
It sounds to me that you were trying to figure out somebody with whom to have sex in a hotel room. And that person was being pimped out at the age of 15 years old.
That's not my intent once I realized how old the person was.
You kept going here. Common sense would indicate that once you figured out or once you were told this girl was a teenager, you'd have stayed away from it.
I agree, but I thought I could help the situation.
You thought you could help?
I did.
You had to call your wife.
Correct.
How did that call go?
She's, upset. She's at least knows where I'm at now that I'm alive and doesn't need to call missing persons in on me.
Where did she think you were going tonight, Larry?
I was going to Lowe's.
Lowe's?
Correct.
To get what?
Some plumbing fittings.
Some plumbing fittings for the house?
Correct.
Did you ever go to Lowe's?
I was intending to after this sorted out.
After you had sex with a 15-year-old?
No, not after I had sex with a 15-year-old.
You're going to be the big hero.
After I got her to a safe location, whether that's a hospital, a police station, wherever.
Right.
Once I was done, I intended to go to Lowe's and tell my wife what had happened.
Why wouldn't you tell her beforehand? That's the fishy part of this, one of the fishy parts of this. Seems like if you're all concerned, you're going to be the good Samaritan. You'd say, honey, I was prowling around on the internet. Maybe I shouldn't have been in this area, but I was, and I came across this thing, and I'm going to go try to help this girl out. You should know this in case it goes sideways. The reason why I think you didn't tell your wife is because you were actually coming to have sex with a 15-year-old. That's what I think.
That's not what happened or what I was planning to do.
Yeah, but what do you think was going to happen if we weren't here, if the Polk County Sheriff's Office wasn't here, and there was a 15-year-old girl willing to have sex with you?
One, I wouldn't have had sex with a 15-year-old, and I would ask if she needed help. If she said no, I would have left and then called the authorities.
You see why that's hard to buy, right?
From the area you work in and the people you deal with, I can agree with that.
All right.
Larry tries to spin this as best he can, but I need to know the answer to one thing.
I have one other question. I'm just curious. It's not about the law or anything. Your car, a lot of energy drinks in there. What's that all about?
I don't like coffee, but I like caffeine.
A lot of them all piled up in the car there.
I normally eat my breakfast on the way to work in the morning, so that's usually at the end of the week or every other week I clean that seat out.
Not judging about that. But the other stuff doesn't look good. Is there anything else you want people to know in there?
Just that I was trying to do something good and it went bad. That's all I can say at this point. We'll see what a judge says, I guess, at this point. There's not more I can say.
You know, the law here in Florida was broken with the online chat. That's a crime in and of itself. That's a problem. You could be arrested just from the chat you had with somebody you thought was underage. You get that, right?
I didn't realize that, but I do now, apparently.
Well, as I said, I'm Chris Hansen. We do stories on men who try to meet children for sex. Have you seen any of those stories before? To Catch a Predator, Takedown with Chris Hansen, any of that stuff?
No, I haven't, to be honest with you.
Well, you're in one now. And if there's anything else you want people to know, now's the time to share it.
I mean, I think I've said my story from my point of view.
All right, well, I appreciate you taking time with me. I really do. Okay? Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Larry was charged with using a computer to solicit a parent or guardian, unlawful use of a two-way communication device, traveling to meet after using a computer to solicit a guardian, and human trafficking for sexual activity. Larry spent many years in the military and now works at MacDill Air Force Base with a security clearance in IT. We'll keep you posted on the case against Larry.
And I don't know, there's a part of me that wants to believe one of these guys when they tell me they were just being a good Samaritan, they wanted to save the girl, but it's really hard when you take a look at the transcripts, when you see him talking about being fixed, sexual things he wants to do with the girl. And then he shows up. You know, that's the thing, he showed up. Showed up with $260, paid the money, and trotted towards the room where he knew a 15-year-old girl was. It's really hard to believe it. It was also hard to watch that phone call with his wife. What we're seeing, Sheriff, in this op, people are looking for parents and foster parents who are selling their children for sex.
Yes.
This has become routine across the country.
That's a new trend. They're looking for a new angle. They're looking for something else that's edgy. They're looking for an opportunity. And that's what's frightening.
The first fellow caught in this sting said he was here as a good Samaritan. He was going to give the parents some money.
Sure, what else
Going
can
to
he
check
say?
on this child.
What else can he say he's caught? Understanding that these people are deviants. These people are evil, sick in the head folks. As we say in Polk County, they got a hitch in their giddy up.
Watch TruBlu.com is home to the full library of Takedown with Chris Hansen, true crime documentaries, and exclusive investigations.